Welcome back to Outsiders. I'm James Morrow, and in a world that is constantly changing and under threat, it is nice to see that some things remain constant, like the lefty American media's attitudes towards Donald Trump and their up is down, black as white obsession with claiming that everything the man says is dangerous and wrong. Now, a few weeks ago, at one of his press briefings, the president made a mention of an anti-malarial drug called hydroxychloroquine, saying that, quote, now, a drug called chloroquine, and some people would add to it hydroxychloroquine, so chloroquine or hydrochloroquine has shown very encouraging early results, the president said. And, of course, very soon after he said these things, predictable hilarity ensued. Now, I could take the rest of the hour showing you examples of the media having kittens over Trump's comments, but here are just a few choice examples. CNN thundered that Trump peddles unsubstantiated hope in dark times. The Washington Post called it snake oil. The New Yorker called it quackery. Boston Globe columnist Michael Cohen said that his touting of hydroxychloroquine meant that the press should simply stop airing the president's briefing. And speaking of not mentioning Trump's advice, Twitter, which, by the way, still lets Chinese Communist Party officials peddle claptrap suggesting that the U.S. invented the coronavirus, even censored a tweet by Laura Ingraham referring to the Lazarus-like recovery of some patients on the drug. Oh, and in a bizarre case, a woman who later turned out to be a Democrat donor said she and her husband had consumed fish tank cleaner in the belief that it contained the drug and would ward off the coronavirus. Now, tragically, her husband died, with many in the media saying Trump had blood on his hands over the death. I could keep going, but you know where this is going. There's a fast-growing body of evidence that suggests the drug, particularly when combined with certain antibiotics, seems to do the trick for many coronavirus sufferers. A study of over 6,000 doctors across 30 countries found that the majority said that in their experience, the drug was the best treatment they'd found for the coronavirus. In Michigan, where the governor went so far as to denounce the use of hydrochloroquine as a, quote, Trump lie, the giant Henry IV health system there has started using it, with a spokesman saying that, quote, we feel that there is data, both from the early published studies as well as from our colleagues in China, that have treated a number of patients to justify its use in the therapy of sicker patients that are hospitalized with coronavirus infection. And patients seem to agree. One woman in New York who received the treatment after days of suffering, brutal fevers, and crushing fatigue said, quote, once my fever was gone, it was gone, that was it. Around the world, the results are similar. A French study of 80 patients found it was successful in 78 of the 80 cases. Meanwhile, here in Australia, the Morrison government has waived bureaucratic barriers to the use of hydroxychloroquine, and studies are underway in both Melbourne and Queensland over its efficaciousness. And now, yes, even the New York Times has had to concede that this stuff might work after all. And they said malaria drug helps virus in a small study. This must have been very hard for you guys to type. Now, I'm no doctor, and to be fair, neither is Trump, but it seems that there are many who would rather this whole nightmare be prolonged than the president get credit for being right about something. And given their reluctance to accept the evidence in front of them, maybe it's time we started calling the Washington Post and the New York Times and CNN something. I don't know, what can we call them? Maybe science deniers.
That's fantastic. James, there was also the French guy, Didier Raoult, I think his name is, a top virologist there. He's, again, it's not an official study, but he's treated 1,000 patients and only one has died, and he's using those same two drugs. There was also a story, I think, during the week about Australian doctors and dentists helping themselves to supplies of those two drugs. So there's a lot in that story, James, and I'm sure you'll keep us up to speed with that going forward. Rita, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's just another example of the media being so demented with Trump hatred that they cannot just report things in a straight manner, even during a global pandemic. Because obviously Trump said that based on medical advice. He's not gone and researched it. The people, the best medical experts in the world have told him that. He's shared that information. And Governor Cuomo, New York governor, said the same thing. But no one accused him of having blood on his hands because some idiot went and consumed fish tank cleaner. And I mean, this is just another example of how the media has absolutely disgraced itself in the way it reports on anything to do with Trump, even when it's something as crucially important as coronavirus and the response to it.
And we saw this last week, Rita, when, you know, they were going after public health experts that had previously been held up as huge paragons and saints in the public health world. And then as soon as they said, no, Trump might be onto something with this, they get destroyed, they have their reputations trashed, and they're basically persona non grata.
Well, even Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx, who are world-renowned experts but been held up. Dr. Birx was appointed by Obama. There's articles calling her a legend of medicine. CNN, The Guardian, all the leftist publications. In the recent weeks, she has been so unfairly attacked and maligned just because she is saying that we are doing the right things. President Trump is doing what we're advising him to do. And because she's not attacking him, they're now attacking her and her credibility, despite her decades-long service and the acknowledgement that she's amongst the very best in the world.